Hey everyone, GXVL here with a brand new Iron Age and comic book discussion in regards and talking about both Godslap and even the likes of Kamen America. So I've actually reread both of their first volume and or issue one, and my thoughts on Kamen America uh, hasn't changed when it comes to volume one slash issue one for that matter. I still think like yeah, pretty basic stuff, a little kind of predictable, but nothing too bad by any means necessary. I do think it was pretty decent. And as for Godslap, I still think it was pretty solid and got me intrigued. And like my only nitpick was that like I noticed that there was like a bubble text that was like a little cut in half, but it didn't seem like it was too important when it comes to like to the overall plot. It's just a little nitpick right there, but hopefully I wouldn't see too much of that. So then, when it comes to me proceeding in reading both of their volume 2 and or issue 2, is that I think they were like much more vastly improved than their predecessor in terms of like getting to know more of their characters. And I think I want to start off with Kamen America. So again, going back with issue 1, is that like so this Carly Vanders, she started off like pretty much as a rookie, like with any other character, right? But of course, is that like she's pretty much interested in doing sewing and like making some clothes, very cool and interesting fabric that she wants to share with the world. But of course, she had like a teacher way back then trying to tell her otherwise, like trying to do like baseball of all things. Like her own teacher wanted her to do baseball rather than like doing like knitting and sewing clothes for that matter. And what's funny is that like when I was rereading this and then proceeding to volume 2, is that there was this particular old person that Carly Vanders like she only made this particular scarf herself for that matter, but she gave it to her instead. So when reading volume 2, this may not be volume 2, but get this. This is actually her old teacher who is just now, homeless. So I thought that was very interesting and to actually gave like a little bit more of a like a tiny bit of development for a side character that we may not be seeing that much at all. Oh, but I also want to mention of this very quick that in regards of Kamen America is that there will be cards whenever you're making your purchase. But I now have a brand new one. This character is Kamen Ramen. So yes, they introduce more characters. When it comes to volume 2, the founding fighters, I thought it was like a far more interesting than with the first issue. I'm not giving any flack to that by necessary, but I thought it was a little bit more investing than before. And especially like getting to know some other characters. This character in particular, who Carly Vanders went to at first, who is just trying to like put out like everything is a marketing ploy. Everything is like not what it seems. So you got to like play by the book, and we trademarked some monsters to go by some certain names. Calling Carly Vanders like you'll be called Warhen, and of course Carly Vanders, she got sick of it all, and then apparently the monsters being made that look like a mud substance. She is responsible. This particular character, she is responsible for all the monsters being made. So yes, he's really in on this very scheme, and of course trying to make Carly Vanders look bad. But of course, adopting the name Kamen America, and she now has a new ally who was a little bit of just like a new adversary for a moment. She's calling herself Common Comet, and she uses fire powers. While Carly Vanders, she uses the likes of electricity for that matter. And whenever like in their civilian um uh, forms, or like their base forms, this is their original hair color. They just basically go like quote unquote Super Saiyan. Uh, uh, if I'm putting that a little bit more technical. Oh, and look, this is again the chick that is creating the monsters. And of course, introducing other characters, like I mentioned, with Kamen Ramen, who was strongly inspired by the very hero that she referred to as Warhen, who's now again Kamen America. She really loves Kamen America so much that she wanted to be so much like her. But apparently, she also got like hit with the glowing powers. And then someone else from Carly Vander's very like childhood or high school years. Her name is Sylvia. This is her coming into action, calling herself a Kamen UN. There we go, Kamen UN. And apparently, what they're tackling here, from what I'm seeing, like this guy, he is just calling Kamen America like, oh, you're just a sham. You're like a has-been, a nobody. And besides, we see you in quote-unquote in college like last year riding on a bull, so why should anyone listen to you? And I'm like, oh, okay, then. Weird. And plus, that was actually this is Carly Vander's own words, that all that happened since in high school. So I don't know what this guy is on about. So yeah, he is definitely the type of character that you are meant to hate and not actually champion for whatsoever. And of course, you get some people in the background saying like, man, he definitely got owned, definitely lost that argument right there. And I'm like, what argument? Like, basically the internet and mainstream social media in a nutshell. Because we have been getting that that type of stupidity in real life. I cannot deny that. And of course, with Kamen Ramen, she does uses water powers for the most part, and I think that's really nice. Like, okay, so you got like electricity, fire, and water. So I wonder, like, if once I get into like other Kamen America like volumes and or issues, I'll be seeing some other elemental users if I didn't know any better, right? So yeah, as far as I know it, the artwork, story writing is pretty solid. I really dig it. And now going into Godslap, and I did mention that there was this particular text bubble that, again, despite not being part of the overall story, is that like I didn't notice. Like it was this part right here. I'm gonna cover this. It was this part right here, like, because I wanted to know what word it was, but luckily that didn't happen again in Godslap 2. But what I do want to tell you guys is that like the characters here, let me see. Yes. So he's gonna be the main lead right here. Yes, his last name is Ron. He has a brother named Darius, and yes, along the way he meets up with two people that goes by the last names Renault. Yeah, the Renaults. So he meets a woman named Cyan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Cyan and Cyril. I hope that's his name. I'm pronouncing it too, Cyril. So yes, again, just to refresh everyone's memories, is that like this is coming from like Voice Critical. Apparently, like him and his buddies, and apparently he got some people to work on this. There's even some cool animations that they put out sometimes, and apparently, yeah, it is in the name. They're literally sending a big slap to the face, but everyone explodes. Like, look at that. This guy slaps and boom, like you're done. Like geez Louise. And when it comes to the main character, he wanted to do a little bit of exploration on his own, and then he got into trouble. And of course, when it comes to like everything black and white, but the blood is going to be visibly colored as like red, orange, or red. So I think that's really cool. And I haven't seen this movie at all, but my dad pointed this out when he was looking at the comics, that it's like, oh, it's kind of like a Sin City, and I hope that's the movie I'm referring to. Like it's kind of like that type of direction, that's like setting and tone. Really nice stuff, and the artwork is amazing. It looks very distinguished. I like how both of these are kind of distinguished, but I mean, maybe I'm going a little bit stretching for Kamen America. I mean, like, yes, it is anime inspired, and it does look like leaning towards to like maybe My Hero Academia, and especially that it's colored. But hey, I don't mind it though, and I think once I read more of that, maybe I will see that the art style might evolve a little bit more. Besides, art styles do tend to evolve or change for that matter. I mean, like, look at Akira Toriyama. His art style did change over the years, especially when you're looking at his art covers. But that's a different side of things. But I thought that would be something that I wanted to mention, at least. And so, with this main character in mind, is that like, yeah, he got himself very injured. His arm got cut off, and now since he met up with two people, and especially encountering with this guy, now, man, now he is OP. When I was reading, and I was really engaged with the story. Like, my goodness gracious. So, he wakes up and meets up with the doctor that I mentioned, and of course, like, seeing her. And apparently, this doctor in mind, like, he has something kept to himself, but I'm pretty sure that's still going to be unraveled a little bit more. Might as well keep things a little bit of a mystery until further notice, right? And of course, the bad guys come in. I assume that they're the bad guys because, like, they're threatening the scientist and his own daughter, by the looks of it. And then, of course, we get to see this guy right here. Like, this dude is not fazed by his Godslaps. Like, what the fudge? This dude, like, he is like Escanor, but a villain. Like, holy crap. But then we see like a particular weird moment, like the moment this big tough dude that meets the main protagonist, is that he's viewing him as like a baby child. So I wonder if that means anything, and I am looking forward to reading much more of this. But yeah, as far as I know it, I really love it. I really dig this. I even really dig Kamen America. These two really got me hooked, and I hope to get more comics for me to know more about these characters. So yeah, I do want to ask you guys this question: which ones do you like more? Do you only care for Kamen America? Do you only care for Godslap? Or do you really like both and you really want to get your hands more on the stories? Let me know in the comments below, and let's talk about more indie comic books, because this is really exciting stuff if I didn't know any better. This has been GXVL saying off right now. Later.